Picture this. You're cruising along in your Tesla Model S, enjoying the luxurious silence, the smooth ride, and the constant stream of admiration from other drivers. Wait, what's that? Your phone's navigation system has just announced that you've arrived at your destination. But how? How could you have driven 25 miles without realizing it? Welcome to the puzzling world of loss aversion. It's a psychological bias that makes you embrace losses as part of the ride, especially when you're behind the wheel of a high-end EV. In the wild world of economics, this is a phenomenon that confuses even the sharpest minds. Experts refer to it as prospect theory, which was so game-changing that its creators won a Nobel Prize for it. Okay, enough suspense. What exactly is loss aversion, and why should you care? It's simple, really. We hate losing things more than we love gaining equivalent amounts. Daniel Gilbert and his colleagues conducted an experiment that put this idea to the test. Participants were given a choice between a sure thing and a gamble. They could either receive 10 for sure or take a gamble where there was a 75% chance of winning $40 and a 25% chance of winning nothing. What do you think most people chose? The sure thing, right? Wrong. In this example, only 58% of people opted for the sure bet. In other scenarios where the potential loss was higher, fewer people took the safe option. Even though the average person is risk-averse overall, they would gamble with money they had already lost rather than risking losing more. Why? Because the pain of losing is psychologically twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining the same amount. Imagine you're holding on to a stock that you bought at $10 per share, but it's now trading at $5. Would you sell it? If you're experiencing loss aversion, you might hold on to it, hoping the price will bounce back. However, this can be a risky strategy, especially if the company is not expected to recover. Similarly, you might find yourself holding on to a job that's no longer fulfilling simply because you don't want to be seen as someone who jumps ship too quickly. Or you might stick with an unhealthy relationship because the thought of being alone is scarier than staying in an unsatisfying one. At its core, loss aversion is a survival mechanism. Our ancestors, who were more sensitive to losses, were more likely to preserve resources, avoid dangerous situations, and ultimately survive to pass on their genes. But while this trait might have been beneficial in the wild, it can sometimes work against us in modern times. For example, you might be sitting on an unrealized capital gain, meaning your investment has increased in value, but you haven't sold it yet. You could cash in your chips, lock in the profit, and be happy. But loss aversion kicks in and you decide to hold on a little longer, hoping for even more gains. But then the market takes an unexpected turn, and your unrealized gains evaporate into thin air. Now you're left with not only no profit, but also a portfolio that's worth less than it was before. That, my friend, is a harsh reality check. It's a wake-up call that reminds us that markets do not always behave the way we expect them to. And sometimes the best thing you can do is to take profits when you have them, instead of trying to chase bigger gains. Loss aversion doesn't just affect our investment decisions. It plays a role in many areas of our lives. For instance, you might choose to drive an older car that's paid off rather than trade it in for a newer, safer model because you're averse to the loss of your trusty old vehicle. Even though the newer car would save you money on fuel and maintenance in the long run, you're happier keeping the one you're used to. That's the power of loss aversion, the invisible force that can keep you from making smart, logical decisions. It's a silent killer that can sabotage your dreams, whether it's buying that dream home, starting that new business, or retiring comfortably. By understanding loss aversion, you can become your own hero. You can learn to recognize the signs of this sneaky bias, challenge your emotional attachment to certain decisions, and choose to take action despite the fear of losing. Yes, it's scary to acknowledge your losses and let go of what you've already lost, but it's a necessary step to free yourself from the shackles of loss aversion and pave the way for a future filled with more wins than losses. Do you feel like you're stuck in a cycle of bad financial decisions due to loss aversion? Tell me your thoughts in the comments. If this episode helped you understand yourself better, give it a thumbs up, Subscribe to our channel for more eye-opening moments and hit that bell icon to never miss an episode. Thanks for watching, and remember, you're always just one decision away from a totally different life.